welcome everybody to the 6th episode of the PictureMonk podcast. Glad you came back and glad you're continuing to listen. Let me go ahead and start off this podcast by saying, as I always do, thank you very much for joining in, for contributing on questions, for listening and everything that you guys do to support PictureMonk.com. I really appreciate it. So to start off this podcast, I'm basically going to give you an update on what I call Canon Apocalypse 2014. It's something stupid I made up, but basically my camera that I've talked about in two separate podcasts, to the previous podcast, my Canon 6D was broke. It had a malfunction in the card slot, and I had to send it off to Canon support. And I'm proud to say that I will be getting it back tomorrow. They tried to actually deliver it to my place of business Saturday, but nobody was there, so they couldn't deliver it. So I'll be getting it tomorrow on Monday. Pretty excited to get it back. It's been weird to be without a camera for almost 2.5 weeks, or what it feels like 2.5 weeks, which has probably only been about 2 weeks. But anyway, it's been kind of tough to do that, especially because I'm doing the Project 52 challenge that I talked about in the last podcast. So I'm having to rely heavily on my phone to get some photos. But there's only 2 weeks left in that, so that's kind of it's kind of weird. I got to make these last two photos in the 52-week challenge. I got to make them pretty good to end up the year. So that's the update on Canon Apocalypse 2014. I know it sounds stupid, but I still thought it'd be fun to name that sort of thing. But let's go ahead and get into the news articles. I found two that I really wanted to talk about. And the first one is a woman by the name of Maria Southard, or I believe it's how I say it, Southard. She's the article didn't say what country she's actually from. I believe she's from America, but I'm not positive. The article that she wrote was titled "I asked 21 Photoshop experts from around the world to make me beautiful." And she is a plus-size woman, which I thought this was really weird, because basically what she's doing is sending her a headshot over to 21 Photoshop experts around the world, and having them make her up to be what they consider beautiful. And you can see all the articles for this on PictureMonk.com/PMP006. You can see all the I'm going to put a link to the website on there, but you can see all of them that she gets from different countries. So they have like India, Italy, Mexico, Bulgaria, United States, Canada. They have all of these photos, what they consider to be beautiful. And it's really crazy to look at how different people from around the world, what could they consider beauty. And just a side note, take a look at the Canada one if you can, when you get a chance to. I don't know what Photoshop expert they sent that one to, but that's horrible. I'm not a Photoshop expert by any means. I do know my way around Photoshop, but Jesus, come on, let's work on some skills there if you consider yourself a Photoshop expert. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So head on over to PictureMonk.com/PMP 006, and you can see I'll put a link to the article, and you can see all the different types of Photoshop work that was done. So I just thought that was really cool. I don't really touch on Photoshop news or software news a lot, but I thought that was really cool to check out. All right, the next and probably the most talked about news that's been going around the internet this week is Peter Lick's photo called Phantom. That was sold for $6.5 million, and that is considered the world's, they call it the world's most expensive photo. And that's freaking crazy how someone would pay $6.5 million. Now, I don't mind people paying $6.5 million for a photo. I would never pay that much, obviously, because I don't have that much. But there's, the person who bought it, obviously they like it that much to pay that much. So more power to you, good job on you, but I wouldn't buy the photo. Even if the photo was a really good price, I don't know if I would necessarily buy it, just because I don't think it's a great image. It's definitely nice. It's probably what people would consider to be more a stage shot, I would almost imagine. So head on over to the website and you can get a look at it and check out what I'm talking about. But what I'm confused about, and I've been looking at, is there was a photo that when he started out. If you don't know who Peter Lick is, he's just a landscape photographer. He had a show on the Weather Channel where they would follow him around and do, and he would go to different locations like Hawaii and all that stuff and get really good landscape shots, and that's normally what he sells, fine art landscapes. And they followed him around, and he went to, I think it's Antelope Canyon. I believe that's where the photos are taken, these specific ones. And he got a photo called Ghost. And it's almost the exact same photo as the photo that sold recently called Phantom. The only difference that I have seen is that Phantom is in black and white, probably taken with film. Again, the article doesn't say, but it was taken in black and white, and the figure in the photo is almost exactly the same as what was in Ghost. So if he took the photo and just converted it to black and white, I mean, that's okay, but it's kind of like, me taking a really cool color photo that I have of, like, I don't know, like a tree or something like that, and then making two separate photos out of it. I don't know if I would necessarily do that. I mean, I would try to pick one or the other. If I want to do black and white or color, I would probably go one or the other. Go pick one way to do that. But it's just, it's kind of weird. I didn't know people actually paid that much for that stuff, especially something that looks like a reproduction or a copycat of one of their own work. But back in 2012, he actually hit a milestone for selling a photo called One, ONE, for $1 million, and that was his first venture into the 6-figure or 7-figure range for selling artwork. And then in 2 short years away, he sold one for 6.5. So, I mean, good on you. You're a great marketer, but I wouldn't necessarily pay that much, or I wouldn't necessarily buy that photo. That's not one of my favorites. If you do want to see one of my favorite photos of his, go to his website. I believe I'll put a link to it actually on my website. But actually, I have 2 favorites. One of them is called Gotham. It's a really cool photo of the New York skyline. And the other one is called River of Zen. It's a really cool photo. I've been trying to replicate something like that in that sort of style, but I haven't been able to actually pull it off. So it looks like a simple photo to take, but it's really not. You have to deal with a lot of different, if you see the photo, it basically shows a river in the background and a nice red leaf in the foreground, and the river is all smooth and silky, but the leaf is picture perfect still. And you have to deal with like wind from water moving and then the wind pushing the leaves. So I've only been able to take one like that where the leaf was slightly blurry. So I mean, I could do a composite, but I'm trying to get it all in one photo. So check out those 2 photos if you want to take a look at those. Alright, so what I want to talk about in today's episode is basically projects that you can do to kind of keep you from getting in a rut with photography, and also these sort of projects sort of help out when in winter months like now that you can do inside. So if you primarily like to do outside shoots, these types of projects are pretty cool at keeping you focused, keeping you going, and helping you stay focused on your photography. So the first project you can do is taking abstract and pattern photos. I really do like abstracts. I'm trying to take more of them because I want to kind of create a gallery of abstracts and pattern photos. And basically this is just, anything that where you can't normally tell what the subject is, or even if you can tell what the subject is, you look at it in different types of settings. So, like for example, one of my favorites, abstract photos, was actually taken at a really crowded event to where there was a huge fire that was going on. I think they were just it was like one of those old-timey fair places where people dress up and stuff. They had a big, huge fire going. It was like in a wood fire, and the flames coming out of the top of the fire created vapors, which was, it's kind of cool that you see that sort of thing. Um, and I was looking at it, and I saw the trees in the background, and the vapor was cool because it was really bright orange, but then the trees in the background, you could see them kind of wavy, which was kind of neat. So I took my camera and I kind of tried to frame it up a little bit, and I took a photo, and you can see how half of the photo is sort of really bright orange, so where the fire was going, but then you still got a little bit of the dull green going on in the right corner, and so the fire's in the top left, bottom right corner is the trees and stuff. And you can't tell what it is. You really can't. I mean, you can tell that it's really bright, so you might say it could be fire if you take a first glance at it, but you really can't tell what it is. And I really like that one. That one's really cool to hang up, and I do plan on hanging some up when we actually get a new house that we're trying to save up for. And have more wall space that I can kind of rearrange and decorate the office. Another thing is patterns. You can still, that goes with the abstract theme. Patterns can be pretty much anywhere, really. One of my favorite things to do when you go to the beach, for example, is to get away from the actual water part of the beach and go towards the dune area. And that's where the sand will be in the ripples. I'm sure you've seen that sort of thing. The sand's sort of undisturbed there a little bit, and so the wind will blow and push the sand and make little ridges, and that's considered kind of like a pattern sort of thing. So taking abstracts and patterns is a good way to train your eye to look at different things and maybe get the overall shot that you want to get, but then look for little spots and pieces in there to take different photos of. All right, another type of project you can do is actually you can, if you've ever heard of urban exploration, that's one of my favorite things to do, granted being safe and not breaking into any place. But urban exploration is where you basically, you drive around, try to find like an old abandoned building or a shed or something that's not on anybody's property. That you can kind of go in and take cool photos of. One of the things that me and my photography partner, my dad, we always like to just drive around and try to find places to take photos. And we came across this really huge factory that was not really too far from the house. It was actually still in the city, and we went inside this factory, and it was basically us and this huge place all to ourselves. And so we took our time the whole day basically just taking photos, and I'll link to some of the photos in the show notes today so you can see them. But we basically just took our time, walked around, played with different things, visited all these cool spaces and rooms and all that stuff. So it was really fun to see different stuff. And one of my favorite quotes about urban exploration is take nothing but only leave footprints. So basically you're just going in there, doing your thing as a photographer, and then getting out. You're not trying to steal anything or break anything or anything like that. So just leave it as you found it. And again, I don't know if this is sort of a disclaimer or anything, but I'm not going to be responsible if you go into somebody's house or anything and try to trespass and take photos. So I guess that's sort of a disclaimer. Anyway, but yeah, that's a different thing. And even if in the winter months you try to do that, you can still find cool places to go in, and it weather won't really have an impact much on that. So doing sort of urban exploration kind of thing is another project that will really sort of also train your mind again, sort of like the abstracts, to look at different things and basically photograph something different. So if you're a portrait photographer and you want to try something new, try that. I mean, that's about as different as you can get when you're not photographing people and old decrepit stuff and just where it's damaged. So it's really kind of cool to see that and try to train yourself in different aspects of photography. All right, and the next one is basically just do something different. This kind of sort of rolls into what I was talking about earlier about the urban exploration, but it just depends on what area you like to focus on as a photographer. So I really like landscapes and cityscapes, seascapes, stuff like that. I really enjoy taking those. So I wanted to do something like a completely 180 of that. I guess that would be portraits, but basically photographing interior architecture or real estate photography. I wanted to try something like that to see how that would benefit me in my other areas of photography. So I've really been getting into doing that, and I'll link photos of that. But I didn't think it would be as much of a challenge as it was. Because with my job, I'm a graphic designer for a multifamily housing company by day, and so it's kind of a perfect opportunity to do that because I'll have to go out and take photos of some of our communities, which I love. I can't believe that's a part of my job, but I didn't think it would be as challenging as it was. It's actually really challenging. It's not just taking a camera, popping in there, and grabbing a photo. Even though some photographers, real estate photographers will do that. They'll just go in there and take some crappy photos and, be done with it. But, I really try to spend some time and try to get something that when I see it on a website and if I was a renter or a buyer, I'd be like, oh, I need to go in there and check that out. I need to see more of this space and feel it for myself and not just, oh, hey, there's a bedroom, that kind of thing. So I wanted to try something completely different, and that's what I feel that doing real estate photography is. And also, real estate photography is just, it's almost like an art in itself. If you're trying to do high-end real estate photography for designers, contractor builders, any kind of thing like that, where they want to showcase their work not only to somebody that's interested in purchasing or renting, but to expand their portfolio. It's a really cool thing to actually get it right, make it look as beautiful as you can. So make sure you're having a tripod and getting more of a dynamic range, because if you're taking interior photos, normally you have to battle with the outside light coming in, choosing the right time of day to shoot, choosing the right day in general to get photos. So it's a really big challenge, but again, it helps me out in other areas of photography. In my main area of interest, landscapes, because not only will I look for composition in landscape photography, but I'll move that composition into my real estate stuff. So I have the perfect opportunity to try that, and I'm really excited to keep that going. So I guess if I'm going to try something different after this, I will probably try portraits, but that's a little difficult because then you got to find people to work with and deal with schedules and all that kind of stuff, and that's not my thing. I just like to I like to just go out and take photos whenever I want to, and not have to worry about scheduling conflicts and all that crap. So try something different, get out there and see kind of what you can do to not get in a rut and not be just sitting there still waiting for spring to come and so you can take more photos. Just get out and do more projects, find more things that you can do inside for winter months, when it's nasty outside. Find something that's just a complete 180 of what you do, and start exploring different aspects in photography. Don't just be one person that does one thing. Expand and have fun with photography, because that's really what it's all about. Alright guys, I appreciate you joining me, and I'm going to go ahead and head off here and try to get some sleep. It's pretty late, so I wanted to get this recorded for you guys. So anyway, head on over to PictureMonk.com and check out all the articles we have there. Actually, this past Friday we had a Photoshop action freebie. So if you go to PictureMonk.com/freebie8, you can download a free Photoshop action and use it for your photos. If you do use the Photoshop action in some of your photos, head on over to the PictureMonk Facebook page at facebook.com/PictureMonkPhoto and submit the photo there, because I want to see them. And if you haven't liked it already, go ahead and like it. And so go download that freebie. It's free for everybody. It's going to be up there for a long while, so feel free to use it. For all the show notes and everything, head on over to PictureMonk.com/PMP006, and you can see all the stuff I discussed. And that's it. That's it, guys. I appreciate you joining. Thanks for listening. Thanks for rating on iTunes. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for everything. I really appreciate it. So I will see you guys later, and have fun.